Hi everybody, Andrew Smith here from We Speak Business, and in this short video lesson I'm going to be sharing with you 5 words, phrases and idioms that you can start using immediately to talk about prices, but also to talk about finances, sales and the economy. So in under 5 minutes I'm going to share with you 5 great words, phrases and idioms that you can use. So here we go and let's get started. So the first phrase we're going to look at today is for something to cost a fortune. And when we say something costs a fortune, we just mean that it costs a lot of money. It's very, very expensive. For example, you could say, that new company car must have cost the business a fortune. Or we could say, I can't really afford to buy this new computer. My last one already cost me a fortune. So another way that we can actually use this phrase is by saying that something costs us a small fortune. And this means when we think something seems to be rather expensive. Now the next phrase we have is something that is quite reasonable. We could say that's quite reasonable. And when we say a price is quite reasonable, what we mean is we think that it is neither too expensive nor too cheap. It's just right. When a price or when something is quite reasonable, we mean that we think that the price is pretty fair. For example, I might say, my sister's wedding dress was quite reasonable. It wasn't too expensive. Or we could also say, their new line of products are quite reasonable in my opinion. I think we should buy some. Now, the next word we're going to look at today is a very common one, and this word a lot of non-native English speakers have some trouble with pronouncing, but also using in a sentence. And the word we're going to look at next is the word debt. D-E-B-T, debt. Now note here that the word debt has a silent letter, and the silent letter is the B. So sometimes English learners will look at this word and think it is pronounced as debt, debt. But the B is silent and we just pronounce it as debt. Think of it as just D-E-T, debt. And a debt is when we owe money to somebody, right? When we have borrowed money from somebody or even a bank, and when we do this, we are in debt to that person or organization or that bank. We can also say to get into debt. This is when we start spending more money than we actually have. We get into debt. And on the flip side, we can also say to get out of debt, which means to start paying back some of the money that we owe. The next idiom we're going to look at today is the idiom bread and butter. Now, I'm not talking about the bread and butter that you eat for breakfast. Bread and butter in English actually has a very specific meaning. And bread and butter means your primary or your main source of income. And we can usually talk about this idiom in the sense that we can say we have bread and butter clients, or bread and butter work. This means work or clients that pay us most of our monthly or yearly salary, right? Bread and butter means our main or primary source of income. Now, the final idiom we're going to look at today is money doesn't grow on trees. And this is something that my mum used to say to me all the time when I was a child. And when we say money doesn't grow on trees, we usually say this in response to somebody who doesn't really value or appreciate the concept of money, right? When somebody doesn't really value or appreciate money, we will often tell them that money doesn't grow on trees, right? It's a commodity that should be appreciated and respected. So those are 5 very common and useful, great phrases, idioms and words that we can use to talk about prices in English. I hope you found them useful, and what I'd like you to do right now is go down below in the comment section and write a few example sentences of your own using the 5 words, phrases and idioms that we've looked at today. So I hope you found today's video useful. Best of luck, and I will see you in the next video.